Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go over last night's homework, or actually it was classwork. And as you see for their example, they went going across, but I always like you to write it up and down. So I'm gonna have 8 and 3/8 plus 10 and 1/3. You need to find a common denominator, and my common denominator is going to be 24. And how did I get from 8 to 24? I multiplied it by 3. So I have to show 3 over 3. So I have 9 24ths. How did I get from 3 to 24? Times 8. So it's 8 over 8. So 1 times 8 is 8. I am adding. So 9 plus 8 is 17 over 24 because I'm keeping the denominator. And 8 plus 10 is 18. 13 minus 5 and 5/6. Can I take 5/6 away from nothing? No, and because 13 is greater than 5, I borrow. The 13 becomes a 12, and I make this 6, 6, because 6, 6 is equal to 1. So 6, 6 minus 5, 6 is 1/6, and 12 minus 5 is 7. So 7 and 1/6 is your final answer. 3 and 2/7 plus 4 and 3/7. I already have a common denominator, so I don't need to find that. So my denominator is going to stay 7, and 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 4 is 7, and I cannot reduce anything. 4 and 3/10 minus 1 and 3/4. Please do not say my common denominator is 40 because you can get one a lot smaller than that. And one that's a lot smaller than that would be 20. So 10 times 2 is 20. So 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 5 is 20. So 3 times 5 is 15. Now I have 6 minus 15. Can I take 6 minus 15? Nope. So I have to borrow. The 4 becomes a 3. Then I add 20 20ths. Put a box around it. And then 6 plus 20 is 26. So now I have 26 20ths. So now I can take the 26 minus the 15, which is 11. So then I have 11 20ths. 3 minus 1 is 2. And then I look and see at the end, can I reduce? And I cannot, so it's 2 and 11 20ths. 12 and 1/2 minus 6 and 5/8. My common denominator is going to be 8. So I take this times 4 over 4, and I get 4 8s, just keep 5 8s. Can I take 4 minus 5? That's what you always ask yourself, and I cannot, so the 12 becomes an 11. Add 8 8s, because the 8 8s is one whole, and I got the 8 because the denominator is going to be 8. Then 8 plus 4 is 12, so I have 12 8s minus 5 8s is 7 8s. And 11 minus 6 is 5, so I have 5 and 7 8s. 26. The length of Elena's hair was 9 and 3/4 inches. After her haircut, the length was 6 and 1/2 inches. How many inches did she have cut? So if I know that her hair started with 9 and 3/4, then it ended up being 6 1/2, I'm going to subtract those two. Keeping the common denominator, or keeping a common denominator of 4, take this times 2 over 2. So I have 2/4. 3 minus 2 is 1/4. 9 minus 6 is 3. So because we cut the hair, it makes it shorter. When you make shorter, you take it away. So she took away 3 1/4 inches of hair. Emerald used a total of 7 1/4 cups of flour to make 3 pastries. He used 2 1/4 cups of flour for the first and 2 1/3 cups for the second. How much flour did he use for the third pastry? So let's draw a picture to get this started first. I need to say pastry 1 plus pastry 2 plus pastry 3 equals the 7 1/4 cup flours. So if pastry 1 was 2 1/4, pastry 2 was 2 1/3, we need to figure out what that amount is. If I'm having a hard time figuring out what that amount is by using mixed numbers, let's just put in some whole numbers and see if we can figure it out that way. Let's just say instead of 2 1/4, we'll just say 2 and 2. So 2 plus 2 plus something equals 7. Well, we figure out 2 plus 2 is 4. So then 7 minus 4 is 3. So 3 is the third pastry. You do the same thing with a fraction. So I take 2 1/4 plus 2 1/3. My common denominator is going to be 12. Take that times 3 over 3 and I get 3/12. Take this times 4 over 4 and I get 4/12. So 3 plus 4 is 7/12 and 2 plus 2 is 4. So for the 2, it took 4 and 7/12, but then I need to subtract that from the 7 1/4. So 7 1/4 minus 4 and 7/12. Common denominator is going to be 12. So now I have 3/12 minus 7/12. Can I take 3 minus 7? No. So you borrow. The 7 becomes a 6. And I add 12/12. Put a box around it. So 12/12 plus 3/12 is 15/12. 15 minus 7 is 8/12. 6 minus 4 is 2. I do not want to leave it as 8/12 though, because I can reduce by 4. So I'm kind of running out of room, so I'm going to write 2 and 8/12 reduced by 4. And I get 2/3. So my final answer is 2 and 2/3. That's your final answer for number 27. So it took a lot of room. And some of you have to do it on a separate sheet of paper, which would be a great idea. 28. Margaret made the jewelry shown. The necklace is 10 and 5 inches longer than the bracelet. How long is the necklace? Well, if this is a bracelet, I take 7 1/4 and it is 10 and 5/8 longer. So I'm going to add it to there. My common denominator is going to be 8. 4 times 2 is 8, so 1 times 2 is 2. Leave the 5/8. 2 plus 5 is 7. Keep the 8. And then 10 plus 7 is 17. So 17 and 7/8 inches is going to be the necklace. Finding the perimeter of the figure, write your answer in simplest form. So I want to find the perimeter of this triangle. So the perimeter is adding all the lengths. So I have 2 and 3/8 plus 2 and 3/8 plus 2 and 3/8. 8 is going to be the denominator. 3, 6, 9/8. 2, 4, 6. So I have 6 and 9/8. But the 9/8 becomes 1 and 1/8. 6 plus 1 is 7. So it would be 7 and 1/8. So the perimeter is 7 and 1/8, and our label was yards. Suppose you want to place a shelf that is 30 1/3 inches long in the center of a wall that is 43 3/4 inches wide. About how far from each edge of the wall should you place the shelf? So if my wall is 43 3/4, let me just draw a picture quick. Here's my wall, okay? And then I want my shelf to be in the center, and the shelf is going to be 30 1/3. We've had problems like this on our bell work. So I take the 43 3/4 minus the 30 1/3. My common denominator is going to be 12. Take that times 3. So I have 9/12. Take this times 4. So 9 minus 4 is 5/12, and 43 minus 30 is 13. Let me make sure. Oh, that should be 45. Sorry, I copied it wrong. So it should be 15 and 5/12. Then to find out exactly for each side, you take the 15 and 5/12 and I divide it by 2. Okay? But then it says just about. So 15 and 5/12 is about, almost, not quite 16. So then it'd be about 8. But let's do it the full way, because you're going to be getting into some division anyways. So I need to take this and make it an improper fraction. 15 times 12. I don't know that, so I'm going to come over here. 15 times 12. 2 times 5 is 10. 2, 3. Add a 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. So I got 180 plus 5 makes 185 over 12 divided by 2 over 1. So now I have 185 over 12. It was divided by 2 over 1, so now it's going to be times 1 over 2, which would then be 185 over 24. And then, so to find the exact answer, I'm going to turn it off to the side. You take 185 divided by 24. Doesn't go into 18. It goes into 185, I don't know exactly. So if I try 5, it's only 120. So let's try 7. Probably can go in again. 24 times 8. Too many. So it goes in 7 times, which is 168. So I'm left with 17. So it would be 7 remainder 17, which is then is close to 8. Or I could really even go even further and make it a decimal and continue with my decimal. Make sure you have made corrections and you have answered everything in pen for the ones that you missed, because as you guys turned them in yesterday, I noticed a lot of you needed help on number 26, 27. Oh, you also need help on 25. Make sure you're getting those, because on Monday we will have the test. So what you are going to be expected to do now, after you corrected this and you make your corrections, you are going to get on IXL. You are going to do G3, which is adding and subtracting fractions with adding and subtracting mixed numbers. You need to get this to an 80%. Okay? If it's not to an 80% at the end of the period, you are going to need to take it home for homework and work on it over the weekend, because our quiz is Monday. Okay, our quiz is Monday. We are going to talk about percents, decimals, and fractions. So you have to change fractions to decimals, fractions to percents, percents to decimals, percents to fractions. You will want to use your notes. And our notes were a circle sheet. They were a circle. And then the other thing that you're going to do for the quiz on Monday are adding and subtracting fractions and mixed numbers. So today you're going to do IXL, G3 up to an 80%, screenshot, and submit that to today's assignment. Once that is finished and you've submitted that, then you can go ahead and work on your IXL sheets. Some of you behind and need to do Excel sheet 3. Some of you need to go ahead and just work on sheet 4. Whatever you're doing, you are working quietly. Do not talk because I do not want to give up my lunch. Thank you. All right, I hope you guys all have a great weekend.